Oh, so I don't do this or not this either. So, okay. All right. So, man, I forgot how bright this light is. But all right, my name's Jake Kohl. I'm returning for my second tell. Last time, coincidentally, I also went first. So, I guess anytime I'm going to be doing the tell, I'm always going to be the first one. Maybe. We'll find out. Anyway, so this is the story of the frozen vegetable girl. So, being young, being a single male in his 20s, always looking out for a potential girlfriend, potential the one, potential marriage, something like that. And about 2 years ago, 2.5 years, somewhere around that time, there was a particular girl. This is to be known as the frozen vegetable girl. I'll get into that later. So we ended up meeting, being a Concordia Cobber, went to mix one night, and we ended up meeting there. And we kind of knew each other beforehand, but we never really got to know each other too much. But we ended up meeting there, and mutual friends, sort of, you know that whole drill. I don't need to go over social interactions with you, but regardless, we're getting to the point. It got to the point we were talking, and then at this time I was on a workout kick where working out was my life. I'm pretty sure that's something that every guy in his 20s does at some point, where at least 2 months, between 2 months to 2 years, workout is the only thing that you focus on at that point. You go to the gym 5 times a week, and you take selfies at the gym in the mirror to show off your progress and all that. That was me at this point. So we were talking about the gym, and she also went to the gym, which happens to be the Y in town here. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, she was just like, hey, we should work out together sometime. I think that's a sign. So I was like, yeah, why not? And of course, we've been drinking, and just like I normally am, a forgetful person, I followed it in the back of my head and kind of went on with the night. Didn't really do too much with it, but I was like, hey, interesting. Couple days later, get a text message. Hey, you want to go to the gym after work today? Yeah, I'm already planning on going to the gym. I'll meet you there. Cool. So we ended up going to the gym, and then we started, with the normal things, warming up on the treadmills. Ran for 10 minutes. And then I'm interested in weightlifting at this point, so we ended up doing some weights, and then she goes, there's yoga at this time. There's a yoga class. We should do that. And I've never done yoga before at this point. So I was like, what could be the harm in that? Well, I learned, like anybody does when they first experience yoga, what yoga is all about. And I wouldn't say that it's not something I wouldn't do, but I recently went, let's just say, and it wasn't the fondest of experiences. But anyways, that's not the point of the story. The point is about the frozen vegetables, but we're getting there. So we continue to be yoga buddies at this point. And then I kind of got the point, it's okay, when we're going to work out together, it's not going to be about weightlifting. It's going to be about going to yoga and taking these classes. So we end up kind of building this friendship along, and we're hanging out, doing yoga, all that stuff. And then there comes to this point. It's right around Memorial Day, I believe. But we were coming up, and she was going to take a trip out to who knows where. And I was actually, coincidentally, on that same weekend, going out to visit my family in California. And so there would be some of that time that we wouldn't be hanging out at this point. And I should say that this is probably over a couple weeks at this point of actually knowing her. So it gets to this point where it's hey, we just text all the time, all that. And then I got this interesting text that said, hey, I just burnt myself. So I'm playing StarCraft at the moment, so I don't see it right away. But once I'm done with my game, I pick up my phone and I see this. I'm like, and this is 15 minutes after I got the text message at this point. And so I'm like, oh shit, do you need help? Did you get it taken care of? 15 minutes is a long time when you're hurt and you're trying to, take care of yourself. And she's like, yeah, I think so. I got this ice cream bucket or something. And then texts me back a minute later saying, actually, do you have any frozen vegetables? And so I was like, yes, I do. And she's like, can you come over and bring them over? At this point, spidey senses are going off. I know I'm generally a clueless guy sometimes when it comes to like signs and signals and stuff like that, but spidey senses going off right now. So I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. So grab the frozen vegetables I had out of my freezer, jump into my car, drive over to an apartment, and let me paint the scene for you. The scene takes place walking into the entrance of the apartment. So there's the first door to get into the apartment, and then there's a second door where you actually have to have the key or the buzzer code to get the door to unlock, right? But then, if you look up, there's also a balcony that's coincidentally to the second floor with a open space where someone could theoretically stick their face out and talk to you, right? So it's locked at the first floor. If you can climb up walls, you can get to the second floor. Got it? Okay, got it. So I'm sitting here with the frozen vegetables in hand, and I'm texting as I'm walking up saying, hey, I'm here, let me in. And then she's like, on her way, in text message form. So I'm like, okay, good. And then she gets to the balcony part up here and just kind of looks down and goes, hey there. And I'm like, hey, so you gonna let me in? And she goes, do you got the frozen vegetables? Yes, I do. They're in my hand, as you can see. All right, throw them up. So are you gonna, yeah, just throw them up. It'll be all right. I'm really confused right now. And then, as I'm trying to sort this out, another guy walks in. He's also a visitor, so he's not a resident who could, just open the door and I can, walk in. He was also waiting for someone to open the door for him. And so now he's there watching as I'm trying to figure out what's going on, because obviously it wasn't clear that I was not being let in at this moment in time. And so he's watching this. I'm sure he's laughing at this point, because when something bad's happening to you, you just assume everyone's laughing at you for whatever reason. And then finally it comes down to a point where I'm just like, I don't know. I really don't know how to respond to this. So I go, all right, here you go. I threw it up, and she caught it, the 2 or 3 bags. And I come to learn later that she was cooking spaghetti, and when she was straining the water from the spaghetti, some of the steam somehow burnt her thigh. I'm not gonna go into details on how that would work or whatever, but regardless, that's the reason why she needed frozen vegetables. And at that point, I was very confused, drove home, wasn't quite sure what to make out of it, but in the end, I guess it was for the best. Thank you.